Okay, now that we've talked about passive transport, now we're going to focus on active transports and their different examples. So if you remember from before, there were two types of transport, passive and active. Passive does not require energy, while active does require energy. So if you think of you going out and being active, you're going to need energy in order to do something active. But if you're trying to be passive, you're not actually using that much energy. Active transport also moves areas from low concentration to high concentration. So here, in passive, we went from high to low. Here, we're going to go from low to high. And so it's going to pump specific molecules heavily on one side of the membrane. And then next, you have an energy source that is required for it. So it requires energy. You need this energy source of adenosine triphosphate, also known as ATP. So active transport requires energy because molecules are moving against the concentration gradient. And so we're not just moving it across the membrane for it to be equal. It's moving against it to where one side ends up with a lot more of that molecule than the other. And so here we already have a ton of these molecules over here on this side of the membrane. But this pump is going to use energy in order to pump even more to this side of the membrane. It moves the molecules from an area of low concentration to high. An example is if a cell was placed in a hypertonic solution, so here this cell is placed in the hypertonic solution on the outside. There's more carbon dioxide out here than in here, but we want to get rid of the carbon dioxide in the cell, and so it's going to take both of those carbon dioxide molecules and shoot it outside of the cell, even though most of the concentration is over here. And once again, because it's going against that gradient, it's going to require energy or ATP. There's two other types of active transport, endocytosis and exocytosis. Endocytosis is the movement of food or waste into the cell through a vesicle. And so much is coming in that you end up putting it into this vesicle, but this requires energy as well because you're creating this vesicle. A way to remember that it's going inside of the cell is endo, that root means into. While exocytosis is the movement of food or waste out of the cell, and so we have food or waste in this vesicle here, and now we want to move it out of the cell through this vesicle. Exo means exit, and so you can see, or out, and so you can see, remember that by remembering exocytosis means it's going out of the cell, and this requires energy as well. Now that's all the types of active transport. Active is really simple. You need energy. It's going against a concentration gradient, and so it goes from low concentration to high concentration, and you need energy or ATP in order for that transport to occur.